How's it going, folks? Welcome back to my World of Warcraft playthrough in Classic, the Classic Edition. I just did a bit of blacksmithing, bit of smelting. Smelted a bunch of bronze, and I made a bunch of things, simply to get the level up, which was this one here. Made a bunch of those. Now I can make silvered bronze gauntlets. So I'm gonna get a little bit more of this together, and I can do that, and that'll be an upgrade. Oh my goodness, it's raining! Absolutely pelting down. Well, we've got a bit of a journey ahead of us because we're going to go all the way over there. We're pretty close to level 32. So what I'll do is let me read the Morladim. The Morladim book that we had before. Where are you? It's Morgan Lattimore. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So, the story of Morgan Lattimore. Morgan Lattimore was a great and noble knight who fought in defense of the innocent, the poor, and the afflicted. For many years he worked diligently throughout the outlying areas of Azeroth, bringing relief to the suffering and swift justice of evildoers. He was married to a young girl named Liz in the summer of the 18th year. They were very much in love with each other and would eventually produce 3 children, a son and 2 daughters. Morgan was 32 when war broke out. Lordaeron. Morgan was called to the side of the legendary paladin Uther the Lightbringer to fight against the orcs and the undead. Leaving his wife and children in the safety of his home, Morgan left for war. The years passed and the war dragged on, and Morgan would witness many horrific events, including the disbanding of the Paladins of the Silver Hand, the death of Uther, and the spread of the plague. The only thing that kept him from the brink of madness was the knowledge that he would someday be reunited with his wife and children. Morgan would eventually return to the homeland but find it nothing like how he remembered it. The once verdant forest was corrupted and teemed with the undead and other dark forces. Destroyed houses and farms could be found everywhere, and the cemetery near Raven's Hill now dominated much of the area. A shocked and bewildered Morgan eventually made his way to his home, only to find it in ruins. Not knowing what had befallen his homeland, he headed towards the village to find answers, and he hoped his wife and children. Morgan inquired about his family but could not find any answers. A priest in Darkshire, as it was now called, said that he might search the cemetery at Ravenhill for a gravestone. Morgan refused to believe that his family was dead, and continued to search every farm and house in Duskwood, but to no avail. Morgan rode from Darkshire to nearby Lakeshire, thinking that perhaps his family had fled. On his way... Alright, we're going over here. On his way there, he decided against the better judgment to stop by the Ravenhill Cemetery. Morgan spent hours walking amongst the gravestones. He recognized many names of people that he knew and became more and more distraught. Then he saw them, a small, untended plot amongst the many, with 3 small gravestones. A feeling of dread washed over him as he approached. Morgan brushed off the dust of the most prominent gravestone to reveal the name on it. Simply carved upon the grave, letters spelled out his worst fear: Liz Lattimore, beloved wife and mother. Morgan's apprehension turned to dismay, and then to grief, and he fell to his knees weeping. For hours he stared at that one grave, begging the cold stone for forgiveness and sobbing apologies. Then, hours later, something in him snapped, and he began to lash out. He brought his sword out of its scabbard and began to rain blows on the gravestones, screaming in rage. Blind in his fury, he lashed out and swung wildly, catching the notice of a trio of the cemetery's attendants. As they tried to restrain him, he turned his focus to them, hurling accusations of guilt upon the innocent attendants, then killed them all. Later, when the rage had passed, realization crept into Morgan's mind, and he saw his bloody sword driven into the chests of one of the attendants. Driven to the brink by his emotions, he removed his belt knife and plunged it into his heart. Morgan Lattimore's body and the 3 bodies of his victims were found. The next day, he was quickly buried without ceremony in a hastily dug grave on the outskirts of the cemetery. Because Morgan committed murder against innocents, something that went completely against his beliefs and his nature, and because of the grief that he held in being unable to save his family, Morgan could not die a peaceful death, and lived on as one of the restless dead. Only days later, his grave was disturbed, and his body could not be found. The being that was Morgan now wanders duskward, consumed by his grief over the loss of his wife and children, and his own self-hatred. Morladim, as he now calls himself, roams duskward with mindless vengeance and hatred, and has been known to commit murder indiscriminately. Well, what a bloody story that is. We are Ravenhill's over here. We might see if we can find that grave as we make our way over here and hand in these quests. I wonder if it wasn't just that he rose out of the grave, but this fella had something to do with it. The embalmer. Alright, anyway, well, let's go get this missing. The missing diplomat, Defias Docket. Find the Defias Docket and return it to Watcher Bacchus. But now that I think about it, there was a recent sighting that seemed odd. It must have been a couple of weeks ago, but some of their agents had gathered around Adol's stead, which is here. From the report, I guess something big went down. Why don't you check there first and bring back anything you find? There's a strong box here. Let's have a look inside. A Defias Docket. Our first plan has already failed. Fist was successful in switching the guard roster for the tunnel shifts that evening, but due to some unforeseen efforts by some of the citizens of Stormwind, our target was able to flee from the scene before we could capture him. But we planned for such contingencies. Plan 2 has been set in motion and well underway before our ambush was set off in Stormwind. Plan 2 is just as simple, but will require more patience on our part. Our man on the inside in Menethil has already been paid for his efforts, and he succeeded brilliantly. We should have no problem acquiring our target and capturing him once we've set sail. Menethil Harbour? Expect the attack to happen a few miles from their destination. That's where our allies will be laid in waiting. I'm not sure why we've been forced to form an alliance with the creatures, but I can't help but feel we're being coerced ourselves. Ultimately, it won't matter. With the target in our custody, we'll be well on our way to taking back Stormwind from those that stole from us. Who is this target they're speaking of, and who are the creatures? Alright, so this is Ravenhill, and the cemetery's behind, of course. A small untended plot amongst the many, with 3 small gravestones. And Lys Lattimore. Could really be anywhere, couldn't it? I'd imagine I'd be able to read the plaque on it. If I can find it. And the rain is done just like that. It's not even a smooth transition, is it? It's just like somebody turned the faucet off. Just mousing over to see if anything shows up. If you happen to see, oh, hang on. 1, 2, 3. All together. It's a possibility. Well, if you happen to know which one it is, or if it's in fact this one, these three here, at a best guess. 2 children and less. But I imagine I would assume that I could actually see that. Beloved wife and mother. Unless it's further back, there's more over here as well. Which is actually where I need to go. Yeah, there's 3 here as well. Could be here. Could really be any of these, couldn't it? There's so many of them. Quite an active area. Oh, there's Morgan. Morgan Lattimore. AKA Morladim. Just see if there's anybody I can... If anybody just happens to be going for that guy. They're level 35, but I'd imagine he's still going to hit pretty damn hard. I wonder if he walks towards the gravestone. His family's gravestones. Ooh, it's very purple around here. That haze. Alright, well, I'm not sure where it is, but if you happen to know, do let me know and I'll try to visit it in a future episode. Or we might find it later on if I go wandering around again. For now, let's go and hand in this one. Armed and ready.
Light be with you.
Hello, Ardraxius. You haven't been gone that long, but I see a fire in your eyes I did not see before.
Be careful.
Ah, this will be proof against the fiend Morbin Fell. Well done. You are ready? Morbin Fell will fall?
Light bless you.
Morbin Fell hides in his lair, the house perched atop the hill to the east overlooking the Raven Hill Cemetery. His time in this land is drawing to an end. Use Morbin's bane against him. It will render his protective magics powerless. Slay him and save us from his wickedness. Be the instrument of my revenge and a hero of Duskwood.
For the Alliance.
We're gonna go back to Bacchus. But before we do any of that, I think I've got to get this one done. The Night Watch. Moladim. Moladim nears. Nope, they're not saying anything. Run! He hits hard. Preferably I would need... Yeah, if I could get a DPS, but I reckon 2 DPS or a healer and a DPS would be great. Let's just leave Morladim alone for now. Let him be a lad. We'll go over here. I'm gonna get some plague spreaders. Except everything here is just a flesh eater or a bone chewer. There's a spreader there. So we're gonna get 20 of these. Definitely group up with somebody if they come along. Oh, actually, we can make a weight stone, I think. Can I make a weight stone? I can make one. I can make a quartz one. Hit you a little bit harder. Oh, is that all you gotta do to get away from it? I didn't know I could just walk away. I didn't know I could do that. Okay, that's cool. Just take a few steps and I can get... Interrupts his cast. Oh, it doesn't really interrupt his cast. He's got to be right next to you to apply it. Type of thing that I thought he would just throw at you. Throw in your general direction. This will play hit me though. LOS it. Oh, not quite, Nella. Oh, not quite. I mean, it's not such a big deal when I can dispel those type of things, but... Or cleanse them. But if I can avoid it, and avoid having to cleanse it, or purify it, more mana for me. A bone chewer. Oh, bit of a team down here. There you go. None of that, thank you very much. So they only need 6 more. That's alright. Get a few quick kills. Whoop, whoop. Have a little drink. Have a little drink and then I can give you a buff. Got all their ghoul ribs. All their ghoul ribs gotten. Got another brain eater there. And then they'll be done. Fantastic! They might have to fight on the way out, so get a few out there. Whoa. Let's get them all the way out. Come on guys, you're finished. You're done with your quest. Oh, and off you go. Not today, punk. Whoa. Oh, I didn't want to. I actually wanted to. Oh, where'd they all go? They just disappeared. Oh wait, did they go back under? Oh yeah, they did too. There they are. I wanted to dispel them. Stop! Thought they went back, they were up here. I don't know where the other guy went. Hopefully he survived. Alright, so both the quests are over there. Alright, so let's go back. What's going to be the easiest way? We did level up so I can get the next bunch of quests. Oh, sorry, actually, let's go back and I'll grab the next round of abilities and I'll come right back. Catch a ride.